Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Andrew Barber with Drew Shipley here on another week of Hawk's Eye View. We're back. We took last week off, just kind of a lull in the schedule for Iowa athletics there. So we're glad to be back this week, and we're kind of riding on a high note. A lot of big things happened this weekend, past week for Iowa sports. I think we can start with the biggest. Caitlyn Clark had her jersey retired this past Sunday. And the Iowa women beat the number 4 USC women's basketball team featuring Juju Watkins. Drew, just your thoughts on everything that went down on this past Sunday?
I think that Lucy Olson has put her stamp on her Hawkeye career, especially in that second half. I mean, she was nearly unstoppable. Addie O'Grady hitting those elbow shots time and time again. She was just automatic from there. She couldn't make a layup to save her life, but she hit those elbows just fine. I think she's 7 of 10 from the field, 7 of 9, something like that.
I've got it right here. 6 of 8 from the field.
6 of 8, and I think the 2 misses were layups. Yeah. So
wild.
I mean, it was a full team effort. The crowd was in it, obviously, as you would expect on a Caitlyn Clark 22 retirement day. I thought, the retirement or the ceremony wasn't as long and drawn out as I thought it might have been. I thought it was appropriate. I mean, I think she's already gotten her flowers from like senior day. The first 2 rounds hosting the NCAA tournament last March. So, I think she's kind of gotten her flowers, so to speak. So the brevity of it, I respected. I thought it was class. I thought USC's team coming back out to witness it, I thought was pretty classy. They didn't have to do that by any means. So that was pretty cool. The defense displayed specifically against Juju Watkins in the second half. I mean, she only scored 2 points in the second half, something like that, something weird. She didn't score much in the second half, I know that. I mean, she had her own in the first half, especially after going down. What was it, 23-4? The Hawkeyes led at one point. And then
we were up big. We were up big. It was like 18-1.
Yeah,
that was so wild when they almost scored 1 point in a quarter.
Yeah.
18-4. It was 18-4 at the end of the first quarter. And then we jumped right out in the second quarter. She had 27 points, but it took her 22 shots to get there. So not a good night, especially from 3, 1 for 7 from 3. And like you said, USC all class, having a lot of respect for them. They had a lot of respect for Caitlyn Clark and Iowa women's basketball. Yeah, it was just maybe a big moment for them. And people kind of take that for granted with like what Caitlyn Clark, when big moments would come, she would always kind of rise to those moments.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Juju Watkins won't, but on this particular day, she didn't. Just on this particular day, but you gotta remember she's a sophomore. This is her second year of college basketball.
I mean, Caitlyn Clark had those days too, right? You put up
Right.
you put up a quiet 27 and be like, that was a bad game, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, whatever. You move on, I think.
Right. She's a great player. She's gonna have plenty of great days ahead. Yeah. So
for sure.
But that being said, Iowa won the game, and I think in large part due to the hot start. But I thought even more impressive than the hot start was the sequence where we had 4 turnovers in a row in the second quarter there, and kind of relinquished that lead late, and then going into halftime after playing most of the half feeling like you should be ahead. To come back from that in the third quarter and be neck and neck in the third quarter, and then just completely take over in the fourth quarter and not have those turnovers like they did. Like, that was a moment where I went, okay, this is that Tennessee, that Michigan State. Those 2 games kind of really stood out in my mind as far as turnovers went and costing us the game. I went, here we go again with the turnovers. It's going to cost us the game. We were able to figure it out, and to have kind of the mental strength, or the mental toughness to come back from that, I thought was probably more impressive than the start of the game.
Yeah. So, I mean, and the fact down the stretch in the fourth quarter where, you know, they're missing Hannah Stolke for most of the fourth quarter with 4 fouls, never reinserted back into the game because they didn't need her, ? Like,
yeah, O'Grady was playing so well. It's kind of just one of those things as a coach where you just kind of feel it out, and then you have 5 people on the floor and they're just playing so well together. You hate to disrupt that.
Yeah.
And so I think it was just kind of, all right, this lineup seems to be working really well. Why disrupt that? She's got 4 fouls. Lucy Olson with 15 points in the fourth quarter. Talked about her second half. It was primarily that fourth quarter where she just absolutely took over. And like you said, this puts kind of her mark on her Iowa career. We can talk about being on the right side of the bubble, right? Because before this game, depending on where you looked, we were in that last 4 in, that first 4 out kind of neck of the woods.
Yeah.
For the Iowa women. Now I think they're probably more in that last 4 by territory, maybe even up further from that. Can keep that momentum going, but overall impressive win.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, I really want to get out of that last 4 by deal. I want to get back up into that 6-7 range. You know, you really don't want to. You really don't want to go into the number 1 seed in the second round. You know, not with this team. I don't think. I mean, you go into like a 3 seed, maybe. You know, a beatable team. Granted, you know that other number 1 seed might be USC again. Who knows? You know.
Yeah, I don't know if I want that in their place.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not, because as women's basketball goes, the highest seed in those quadrants host the first and second round, which I love that, and I wish the men would take note. You know, I wish the men would do that too, but
yeah, never gonna happen. Just so you know, never.
Why do you think that though?
There's just a lot of money to be made with these neutral site games, and also I think there's a lot of coaches that would throw a fit and say it's unfair advantages and all that kind of stuff. So
that's why you make the regular season worth your while, man. That's why you pay. That's why you play 30 games.
Yeah. I'm not against it. I just think there'd be a lot of resistance to it. But yeah, The other thing that this win does, the future of Iowa women's basketball, we might look back on this game as kind of a program changing moment. There's a lot of them, right? The whole Caitlyn Clark era, various games throughout the Caitlyn Clark era were kind of program changing in a lot of ways.
Yep.
But what I mean is program changing in the regard of going from a team that can sometimes rise up to becoming a perennial powerhouse. If that happens for Iowa, we'll look back on this day as kind of the reason because of who was in attendance. Number 1, 2026, Kate Harpering. Number 10, Addison Bjorn in 2026. Number 23, Jenica Lewis in 2026. Top 10 in 2027, Finley Chastain, as well as Addie Deal, who's top 10 in 2025, who's already committed. And then Juliana Guy, 2028 recruit, going to be really good. Rankings not out yet, probably a top 10. So
I don't even know how you go about ranking high school freshmen at that point. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's kind of folly. Nobody's really done it. 247 Sports kind of has an eye on all of this.
Sure.
But that was who was there, and I'm hearing a lot of good things about the recruits that were in attendance, how much they love the visit, how much I was really actually in the conversation. It's not just like they came just to see the Caitlyn Clark retirement ceremony type thing. It's like they came for that, yes.
Sure.
But they're also there because they legitimately are considering Iowa, and that's a huge deal.
I mean, there's nothing better that the University of Iowa could do on a presentation standpoint for top recruits like that. Like, that was textbook perfect. You cannot present the University of Iowa any better in that case. You had Caitlyn Clark retirement day, packed house, sold out Carver Hawkeye Arena for a women's game against Juju Watkins, and then beat them. Like, I mean, with inferior talent, let's just say it, right? Like,
yeah.
USC is a very talented basketball team, and 9 times out of 10, that's probably not how that game's going to go.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it is a program-changing Sunday. I just do. I think that, yeah.
Yeah, I do think, we have a legitimate shot at all those recruits I mentioned, and one that I haven't mentioned yet, McKenna Wolitzko, who's also top 10 in 2026. So there's a world where we get 3 top 10 and then number 23 Jenica Lewis in 2026. Yeah, who's from Johnston. So that would be really cool in its own right because she's a local kid who would play for Iowa. And then, again, it's a very realistic possibility that we get all of those recruits. And we're rolling out lineups and bench lineups that are similar to what Prime, UConn, Prime, South Carolina have done in their incredible runs recently.
That would be wild.
Yeah, it's very real. It's a very possible thing. So I'm excited. And I think if you're an Iowa fan, you should be excited too.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it was a season-turning game too,
Right.
I mean, there was nothing positive coming from really, folks. That's why we didn't come on last Thursday, because there was nothing positive to talk about, really.
Yeah, there was no momentum.
The men didn't play for like 8 straight days, so there was nothing really to talk about there. They had lost 4 straight at that point, now lost 5. The women had lost 4 straight at that point, or 3 straight at that point. And then, I mean, go in this last Sunday, and beat number 4 USC, Juju Watkins, Caitlyn Clark Day. That turns the whole season around.
Yeah, and it's funny that we're talking about that last, like the actual season, like this season. There's so many other storylines around Iowa women's basketball that are not this season that are going on that are fun to talk about. But in talking about this season, I mean, tough game tonight against Minnesota, who's 18-5. They're not ranked anymore. They were previously ranked, but they're not anymore. On the road. And that's a good team. And then you've got Nebraska on Monday, and we know Nebraska's a good team as well. So it's not like you get to just let up here after beating USC. We've mentioned it before on the show, this schedule in February and March, there's no nights off for this Iowa women's team at all.
No.
I don't know.
I mean, you're at 15-7, right?
Yep.
And what are they in the Big Ten? Are they 5-4 now?
Yeah, I think they're right at 5 and 6.
5 and 6.
So tonight would be big because you can get back to 500, and hopefully, I think the goal has got to be end the season in over 500 in conference play somehow. Going to be a very tall task just looking at the schedule.
I know, right? Because you look at the schedule and like you have a hard time like penciling in a 20-win season, despite this top 4 win at Carver last Sunday. You're looking at 15-7, right? So,
right.
I mean, let's go ahead and run it down. We got time. So we got Minnesota tonight. We got Nebraska this weekend.
Nebraska on Monday. Minnesota tonight, Nebraska on Monday. I think Iowa's going to win tonight.
I do too. Despite their plane troubles, did you see all that nonsense?
No, I didn't. Fill me in.
Yeah, they were trying to get to Minnesota last night, and the plane was freezing up, literally like stuck to the tarmac. Apparently, they still fly propped planes, and I posted on Keith Murphy's post about that, and I got a lot of pushback that apparently a lot of Division I teams charter prop planes still. I didn't know that. I figured they'd just take a regional jet, but
all right. You are following the travel aspect. I'm not following the travel aspect at all.
So yeah, they did have a long night last night and didn't get back to the hotel in Iowa City when they were supposed to be in Minneapolis last night till 1:00 in the morning. They re-left this morning at 10:45 local time.
Oh boy. I'm not going to let that change my prediction. I'll stick with it.
No, I think Iowa rolls, actually.
Yeah. I think we'll lose to Nebraska. Tough team. They already beat us here. I know we'll be out for revenge, but they're tough at home.
Okay. So we'll call that 16-8. Let's keep running it down.
Yeah. Home against Rutgers, who's 9-13. I'm going to go ahead and chalk that up as a very win.
17-8.
Very much a win.
17-8, yep. Or 18-8. I'm sorry, isn't it? No, 17-8. Sorry. Yep, 17-8.
17-8.
Yep.
And 500. Then you go at Ohio State, who's number 8. Yeah. So
17-9.
Yeah. Then you get to host undefeated number 1 UCLA.
17-10.
Yeah, right. Then you go on the road to 15-7 Michigan, who I think is a decent team, but I think Iowa can pull that out.
18-10.
18-10. And you're 1 or maybe 2 games under. And then you finish the year with 11-12 Wisconsin. So 29 games, probably
19-10.
19-10, but that's counting on winning a couple of road games and against teams who are not pushovers, right? Minnesota and Michigan are not. Nebraska. So really it comes down to the Minnesota, Nebraska, Michigan games. You got to nail 2 of those 3 to end up 19-10.
Yep.
Or if you don't nail 2 of those 3, then you got to steal one off of Ohio State or UCLA at home. beat UCLA at home, I think you don't need to worry about getting to 19 wins. You're in the NCAA tournament if you beat USC and UCLA.
I mean, the good news is those highly rated teams are in Carver Hawkeye, right? So I mean, you could viably say a split.
Yes.
I think we were doing that more like wins and losses is more like skeptical. Sorry, I can't say the damn word right now.
Yeah.
As in, like a toss-up game or, a team that should beat us, okay, will beat us. So, like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they just beat number 4. So.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a different thing with UCLA. I don't know if you know about Lauren Betts.
I know about Lauren Betts, yes.
Okay. Well, there was also an alternate reality where Lauren Betts joins our team last year.
I remember this. Yes, that's right.
I wish that would have unfolded because, man, that would have been awesome. But that is going to be a tall task.
Yep.
So, like you said, I think we're kind of on the pessimistic side, maybe, but
I mean, being pessimistic saying 19-10, I mean, I think you're in a good spot considering where you were 2 weeks ago, losing 4 or 5 straight, So
right.
I mean, I think you recovered nicely with that big top 5 win at home. Just keep the momentum going, beat the teams that you're supposed to beat, and you're going to be there. The 7, 8, 9 seed probably at the end.
Yeah, or just hopefully overachieve.
Overachieve, win 22 games, and
just overachieve, beat everybody else on your schedule, win the last 7, 22-7, and just let's go.
22-7, you're probably top 4 in the Big Ten. You get the double bye.
Yeah. And that's another factor that will come in to play for the NCAA tournament seeding as well, right? If you go 19-10, then I don't know where you'll end up in the Big Ten standings. You'll be right in the middle there somewhere.
Probably in the 7, 8, 9 range, yeah.
Yeah, you'll probably be somewhere. You could be anywhere from 7 to like 12 with that. So, and then just it'll really depend on your matchups that you get in the Big Ten tournament, but maybe you make a little bit of a run there, and then that really solidifies your seeding, and you get off that 8, 9, 7, right? Work your way up into a 6 is what I would like for the Iowa women.
Work your way up into the 6. You never know what happens. You make it the Sweet 16, man.
Right. So just looking at it, kind of the teams in that range, you're looking at like Kansas State, Kentucky, Duke, TCU, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Good teams.
We've played TCU and Kansas State in years past.
Yeah. Good teams.
Granted, that was Caitlyn Clark years, but
yeah, good teams, but not unbeatable.
Right.
So yeah, I think there's definitely a path forward there for the Iowa women. More good news on the recruiting front. Kind of gonna switch subjects on you.
Wrestling?
Yeah, we can go to wrestling recruiting because Iowa got the number 1 wrestler in, what is it, 2026?
Yes, 2026. Yep.
Bo Bassett.
Bo Bassett. Yep.
Bo Bassett.
That's a badass name, actually.
Yeah, it's a great name.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about Bo Bassett, Drew. I
don't know a lot about Bo Bassett. I can't believe that
okay.
What I do know is he's pretty good acquaintances with Spencer Lee, which kind of landed him in Iowa City to begin with. He grew up a Hawkeye fan.
All right.
So Iowa was always his target. I don't foresee Bo Bassett being like one of those late commitment flipper type deals because Iowa's NIL in wrestling is above reproach. It's the highest in the country, even over Penn State in that regard. So A lifelong Hawkeye fan, always wanted to wrestle for the Hawkeyes. You're number one and have the best NIL package. I do not foresee a change of heart in that class of 2026 for the number one wrestler in that class. So that is what I know about him, actually. Learned the last couple days. There's another commitment wrestler that they're good friends with, Bo Bassett. I can't remember his name. He's up there in the top 20.
Well, there's Jax Forrest, who's number 2 and just went to Oklahoma State.
I knew that.
Then there's Michael Mako.
Okay.
I believe that's the other one that you're thinking of who's top 20, who I believe, from what I have heard, will be an Iowa Hawkeye.
That might be it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the recruiting is starting to heat up in Hawkeye wrestling again, which is great because they're going to need it, especially after last Friday night's 30-8 debacle at State College. So,
I really thought it would be closer than that.
And you know, Andrew, the thing about it is that the 2 of the matches that we were favored in, that we were number 1 in the country, one of them was Techfold, and the other one lost by like 6 or 7. So, I mean, and once that happens, I mean, it's over, right? So,
right.
It was tied 5-5 after the first 2 matches. I can't remember who we rolled out at 125, and then Drake Ayala matched in kind on a tech fall at 133, and then after that, I mean, it was pretty much all Penn State. So it was.
Yikes.
Iowa rebounded in College Park in Maryland Sunday in kind. I believe they won 33-8. So they bounced back. Maryland's a top 25 wrestling team as well. So they did bounce back on Sunday.
Yeah,
but, I mean, it's Penn State and everybody else. Let's just face the facts here. So, I mean, unless we're getting kids like Bo Bassett at every weight, I mean, it's going to be a tall task. I mean, you got to get at least 4 or 5 of those Bo Bassetts on your roster at the same time. And I mean, after this class graduates, I mean, and Drake Ayala, I believe, is a senior, and he's a number 1 guy. Actually, I think he's number 2 overall in the rankings. So, like, when we're talking about true chances of national titles this year, Teamer, I think, is at 170. What was he wrestled? 174. He was number 1. He was the guy that got tech falled, actually. And that's when I turned off the TV in the Penn State meet. But yeah, I mean, so I mean, I guess it depends on how much talent holds over. Like AJ Ferrari stays,
yeah,
and wrestles in the 180. What is that? 181. I can't remember high school wrestling's weight classes, to be honest. So I apologize for that. But
no, I don't know.
I just know the names.
I had a friend tell me where he thinks Bo Bassett's going to wrestle. Is it? Give me the college weight classes. There's 125, 133,
141,
and then what's right up from that?
133, 141, 152.
He'll probably be 152, I think, is what my friend said.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was 141 or 152. I asked one of my friends who's a wrestling coach, been a wrestling coach for quite some time now, huge wrestling fan. Said, explain this to me in football terms. He said, I can't because Iowa football has never had a recruit like this. What he tried to say was that Bo Bassett is a LeBron James level high school prospect.
Seriously?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of hype around him too.
So we're saying more hype than pre Spencer Lee, because Spencer Lee was massive.
Yeah. Spencer Lee, though, like personality was very nice guy. Didn't maybe pump himself up all the time. From what I understand is Bo Bassett's not afraid to do that. He's got his own podcast. He's got his own thing. People are saying.
So he thinks pretty highly of himself, does he?
yeah, there's people out there who say it's unfair that he's wrestling in high school. He's beat college champions at his weight class already or something. Yeah, apparently this is a great get. So I don't know. We'll see if that kind of comes to fruition. But he is definitely a self-promoter.
Abel Stevenson, Aaron Brooks.
Self-promoter.
Yeah.
Is definitely
him,
but maybe not overly cocky, but knows how to self-promote.
Who was that? Who was the Hawkeye that was really good at that? Talked a lot of shit. He had an awesome mullet. The one time he won the national championship.
Oh gosh.
And he talked about the mullet. Oh damn it! He's one of my favorite guys too.
His name's on the tip of my tongue as well. It's not Marinelli, is it?
No, that's the Bull. No, that's not Marinelli. He was there forever too, but the same era. Yeah. I'll figure it out at the break.
Okay.
We might actually have to bring it up on YouTube and show that clip because it has the interview of him talking about it. It's like you can't win the national championship in a day. You can't grow a great mullet in a day or something like that.
All right. Here we go. Break time. We'll be back.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa-born, Iowa-aged, Iowa-bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com. Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing your home, or if it's simply time to renovate the one you're already living in, you need an experienced mortgage professional to help you analyze your financing options and to make sure the closing goes smoothly. And that's exactly what you get when you call Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage. Kyle's experience and expertise, coupled with Wintrust's rates and programs, ensures you'll get the mortgage that's right for you. You may even qualify for down payment assistance. Before you reach out to a realtor, call Kyle and get pre-qualified, empowering you to start shopping for the home of your dreams. Call Kyle at 515-473-0546. Kyle Lehman Wintrust Mortgage, 515-473-0546. In 2023, a crack Green Beret named Dan Douglas retired his military command and promptly escaped to a full-time career in real estate. Today, this man is wanted by home buyers and sellers who want to survive the process without spending a fortune. If you have a home to sell or want to buy one, maybe you can hire Dan Douglas at Green Beret Realty. You can find him at greenberetrealty.com. greenberetrealty.com.
All right, welcome back. And yeah, you just let me know that the name of the wrestler is Sammy Brooks. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to pull it up. Oh.
It's the Big Ten championships, actually. So I was incorrect in when he said it. But,
yeah.
It is a great soundbite.
Yeah. Give me 1 second here. I don't know if I can pull it up. Let me see.
I believe in you. We definitely have to fill some time since, there's not much good to talk about the Iowa men's team. So,
well, hey, we can still talk about them. Hang on. All right. I don't know if I can get this to pop up here.
Oh, I believe in you.
All right. I'll share. don't know if it'll let me.
Where's Chris Shipley when we need him? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
not letting me.
It's okay.
Anyways, if you wanna go look it up, Sammy Brooks mullet clip. It's a good one.
Yes.
So
yes.
Anyways, maybe better days ahead for Iowa wrestling, kind of like what we talked about with women's basketball. Long way to go to close the gap on Penn State. I don't think getting Bo Bassett closes the gap enough on Penn State, but it helps.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Iowa men's basketball, there's a lot going on. They fought hard against Purdue. They made it more of a game than I thought they would, I guess is the best you can say. Still allowed Braden Smith to really go off. Trey Kaufman-Wren got whatever he wanted, but they didn't get blown out of their own gym, which I thought might happen. Riley Mulvey is starting now. Owen Freeman.
He had a pretty decent game.
Yeah, he brought a lot of energy. He's never going to score a ton of points.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Sanford and Dix played pretty well, I thought. Scored the ball pretty well. I don't know what more you can expect. If we did the rundown of their schedule, I think there's maybe one win left there this season. And everything's trending towards not even making the Big Ten tournament. So there's not even that, oh, you're the last team in the Big Ten tournament. Maybe there's a sliver of hope you make a miracle run. There's not even that to hang your hat on.
That's unbelievable.
There's not going to be any sort of a postseason. We're not getting invited to the NIT. I hope that we've seen this now with 3 coaches, Jim Larinaga, Leonard Hamilton, and now it comes out that Mike Woodson.
I did see that today.
Is contemplating retiring.
Yep.
They're basically pushing him into it. I think that's kind of the move for Iowa too. Is just say, hey, Fran McCaffrey's retiring. We can celebrate some of the good moments. We can move on to the next thing because that's clearly what needs to happen here.
Okay, let's go ahead and reminisce then. Let's have some positivity here then.
Let's reminisce.
In the 15, 16 years, Fran McCaffrey, right?
Yeah.
Give me some great moments. Give me some. You're going to think fondly of Fran McCaffrey era basketball.
I think one of the first moments is, I believe it's his first year, but his first year team beating a top 10 Purdue team at home late in the year. I think that was the first signature win of the Fran McCaffrey era.
I think I was in Vegas for that, and I bet on Purdue.
Yeah. And that was good because you had guys like Jared Cole and all of that getting a much deserved win.
Was that wasn't that Matt Gatens too?
Yeah, Matt Gatens was part of that team, I believe, as well. Sorry, I'm looking up Iowa men's basketball here a second.
I think I think that game specifically was where Matt Gatens threw it down.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, I remember the last Big Ten tournament title. I mean, despite how that season ended, how it ended in the first round.
Yeah.
Against Richmond, that sucked. But I mean, that was a pretty magical run. When what was that? Was that 5 games in 5 days?
That was 4 games in 4 days.
4 games in 4 days.
Yeah, so that his first team was Gatons, Melson Basabe, who's a freshman, Bryce Cartwright, and Jared Cole. So it was cool for Gatons and Cole to kind of get that first win there. Zach McCabe was a part of that team. Young Roy Devin Marble. Eric May was part of this team as well. And then you kind of come back the next year. That team went 11-20, but they had that big Purdue win. The second year, kind of Matt Gayton's senior year, Roy Devin Marble kind of emerges. Freshman Aaron White. I think that's kind of more so than maybe just like moments.
Was Aaron White all Big Ten freshman?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think more so than moments, you're going to kind of remember players that kind of mark each kind of like segment of the Fran McCaffrey era. So I think the first two are kind of Roy Devin Marble and Aaron White. And then you kind of have the Jared Utoff, Peter Jock kind of era.
Yep.
There. And then that kind of leads you into like the Tyler Cook, Jordan Bohannon, Luka Garza, Keegan Murray, Joe Wieskamp to now. So I think a highlight is maybe the 2014, 2015 season, which we won't talk about how that ended.
Northwestern State?
No, that wasn't Northwestern. That was when we got all the way up to number 2 in the country and then fell off.
Oh, that's right.
And lost a playing game.
That's right.
So that was Woodbury, the Woodbury Gazelle years, the Woodbury tip-in to win a first-round game in overtime. Gazelle throws a shot up, and Woodbury tips it in, and that wins the game against Temple in overtime to advance Iowa to the second round. Beating Cincinnati and then going toe-to-toe with Tennessee. And then, like you said, that Big Ten tournament, and then everything about the junior and senior year of Luka Garza, except for maybe how it ended. But
and that wasn't really fair to that team either, man. Like Oregon came in fresh, didn't have to play. Like,
right. But you had a guy who was essentially back-to-back player of the year.
Wasn't that Bull?
What?
Didn't Bull play on that Oregon team?
No, Bull didn't play on that Oregon team. We beat an Oregon team with Bull on it.
Oh, was that in the NIT?
No, that was like a preseason
tournament.
Yeah. The Oregon team that we played was
would we even know any of their players? Let's put it that way.
Depends on how closely you follow the NBA.
Okay.
Chris Duarte is the one that you would maybe have a chance at knowing.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Okay. Well, Chris Duarte is the one guy who's playing in the NBA. There's Eugene Omarui, whose younger brother Cliff played at Rutgers for a while. But yeah, the Luka Garza era, I think, is probably the real pinnacle of the Fran McCaffrey era there.
So when you look at that, so the reminiscing, right? I think the narrative that you just built was that Fran McCaffrey was an elite recruiter. Because everything that you said about his era were about all of his players that played great for the University of Iowa.
Good developer of talent is what I would say. Not as a recruiter. I'd say more so a developer.
Okay.
Of talent, especially with wings and bigs, specifically.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd say specifically with forwards and big men.
I was going to say it wasn't with Roy Devin Marble, I'll tell you that.
Well, Roy Devin Marble did improve. He did improve.
I just did not like that guy.
I loved him.
turnover machine when it counted. Just
true. Yeah, that sucked. But he had some awesome moments and some awesome games too. Against Oregon in the NIT, actually.
There it is.
Against Oregon in the NIT, he hit like 8 or 9 threes in a game against Oregon in the NIT.
Oh, God.
I think we dropped like 110 on Oregon in the NIT on their court. That was pretty good.
Are you sure that wasn't Peter Jett?
No, that was the second year of Fran McCaffrey that we did that.
Wow, that is right.
Yeah, because we won, we went all the way to the NIT final.
That's right.
That second year, and we lost to Baylor in the NIT final.
And then didn't Baylor win the national championship the following year?
I can't remember if they did or not. They definitely made the NCAA tournament and went pretty deep the next year.
I think they did.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll reminisce about great NIT moments. Well, we got to play 2 home NIT games, and Carver was packed for both.
That's true. That's true.
Packed for both, going nuts. I remember that because I watched those games. Yeah,
I mean, that was coming off the Licklider era then, man. Going from that 11-20 season into postseason play, we saw the rocket going up, going up, So there was excitement in the program at the time. It was going the right direction, and then they made their first tournament, and and then it just kind of could never get out of the first weekend. Sometimes.
Yeah, I could never get out of the first weekend. That next season, went to pretty big heights, but then lost that playing game to Tennessee.
That's right.
Then the next year came back and went to the second round, but lost to Gonzaga, who was at the Final Four.
Was that after we beat Davidson in the first round?
Yeah, we crushed Davidson. It was 83 to 52. We crushed them. It wasn't even close. A lot of people were picking Davidson. I remember that. It wasn't even close. Then the next year was the tip-in game against Temple, but then we played Villanova, who ended up going and winning it all, I believe.
Yep, that's right.
And then didn't make it the next year, but finished above 500. 2017, 2018, not good.
That Villanova team was so good, though. Mikal Bridges, I think that's the one they won the title at the buzzer.
Was this the Chris Jenkins team? Let's see.
I think so.
It's very possible. It's very possible that this was the Ryan Archidiakono, Chris Jenkins, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson. Mikal Bridges off the bench.
Mikal Bridges off the bench.
Mikal Bridges off the bench because they played Chris Jenkins essentially over. And Jalen Brunson, you see what he's doing in the NBA now. He's
and I'd say Mikal Bridges is one of the more underrated players in the NBA, especially in his time with the Suns.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an Iron Man too. He never misses a game.
Yeah. Mikal Bridges is awesome. Brunson, Hart, and Bridges all start for the Knicks. They all play for the Knicks. They all start for the Knicks.
And the Knicks are doing okay.
The Knicks are great. The Knicks they call them the Nova Knicks.
As they should.
Yeah, because they had DiVincenzo until they traded him too.
Yep.
So again, and then 2018-19, you lost to a Tennessee team who didn't go to the Final Four but made it to the Elite Eight. So it's not like you lost to a slouch team, but you took them to overtime and lost in overtime to a 2 seed as a 10 seed.
Yep.
And then, one of the worst things I think is that 2020 NCAA tournament didn't happen because that team was kind of getting on a roll down the stretch. They were, they were definitely getting on a roll down the stretch there. Felt like they had a lot of momentum. So, and then, you have the Luka Garza Oregon thing. And then you lose to Richmond.
And didn't Garza put up 41 in that game too? Like
Garza had an awesome game. We put up 80 points and lost, which now is kind of very typical of Fran McCaffrey teams.
I feel like I said that in our last pod about Fran McCaffrey's defense of his teams.
Yeah,
but most teams, 85% of the time, scoring 80 points would win.
We scored 80 points, and only 2 of our 5 starters scored in that Oregon game. Garza and Wieskamp.
So Luka did have like 40, right?
Luka Garza had 36 points.
36
on 14 for 20 from the field, with 9 rebounds. And we did not.
That team was so talented to be in that position. Like, what the fuck?
We did not win that game.
No, we did not. No,
because our 3 other starters were Bohannon, CJ Frederick, Connor McCaffrey. They all scored a collective 0 points.
I remember that because, Jordan Bohannon was so cold going into the tournament too. Like, it was just not playing well.
Right. Patrick McCaffrey had 10 off the bench, going 4 for 6. Keegan Murray went 2 for 9. So maybe Keegan could have shot a little bit better, but it was sophomore year Keegan. Right.
So much talent down the drain, man.
Yeah, I know. Guard play, right? That's kind of the one thing of the Fran McCaffrey era that you could always kind of harp on, especially later.
Excuse me.
Is guard play. So, that's there it is. There's our reminiscing going down memory lane.
Hey, the Iowa women are 6-5 in the Big Ten. By the way, they're not 5-6.
Really? ESPN app lied to me then.
6 minutes to tip. Big Ten Network. Iowa, Minnesota, 15-7, 6-5 in the Big Ten versus Minnesota, 18-5, 6-5 in the Big Ten.
Maybe I flip-flopped the numbers. Yeah, ESPN is wrong then because it has us as 5-6. So we'll go with what the Big Ten Network says because they probably know better.
It sounds better.
Yeah, we'll go with what they say.
Who knows?
Your absolute start. Okay, if this is the end, your absolute favorite starting 5 of the Fran McCaffrey era. I don't know if we've done this exercise, but I feel like we should. I think there's 2 obvious names, and then after that it gets, what do you like?
So the obvious 2 is Garza and Murray, right?
Garza and Keegan, I think, are the obvious 2. Maybe even the other Murray, but go ahead.
I'm going to go Peter Jock. I'm going to go Jared Uthoff. Shoot. I guess I need a freaking point guard now, don't I?
Yeah, who you going to put at point?
I guess it's got to be it has to be Bohannon, right? The all-time leading 3-point shooter. Like, it has to be Bohannon, I think. Not that I want him playing point guard, but because of the lineup I built, that's who it has to be, I think.
Yeah. For me, it's Garza, Keegan.
Wieskamp.
I think I would go Garza, Keegan, Chris.
Ooh.
And then put Peter Jock, and then Mike Gazelle, probably.
Oh, I mean
because I like
That's the best pure point guard for sure.
Yeah, because I think with the team that I have there, I don't need scoring from my point guard necessarily.
That's true. But
and
he might have an all-time leading 3-point shooter, though. I mean,
and Keegan and Chris can help me out on defense, and so can Gazelle. I think I have 3 guys who are pretty decent defenders, and they're obviously great on offense.
I'm actually surprised that neither of us picked Wieskamp.
Yeah, right. I think my one thing that I would maybe flip is Utah over Chris Murray, and that's the only part where I flip flopped. Yep. Chris Murray or Utah. But I think.
There's no right answer. I mean, I like them both for sure. But
senior year, Chris Murray was pretty awesome. I don't know if people remember that all that well, but he was pretty awesome.
I think it was probably more because of the results of the actual team.
We became an 8 seed and lost to an Auburn team that I think upset a 1 seed in the next game.
No, that is true. That's right.
So people talk about us not making the second weekend, but the teams that we lost to
make runs
usually ended up making some kind of a run.
Yep, that's
true. Chris Murray went 20-8 in his senior season.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, on great shooting splits. So
was he first team All Big Ten?
Yeah,
he wasn't unanimous, but he was like split, right? I think.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was first team All Big Tenner.
Yeah,
and there were plenty of first team All Big Tenners in the Freeman McCaffrey era. So
a lot like the Iowa football team, where the results don't match the talent.
Yeah,
all these first team All Americans. What do we have to show for? 8 and 5.
So that's kind of what we talked about when we talked about coaching and replacements. That's kind of what our dream is, I think, for our next coach is hopefully the results either match the talent or exceed the talent. Right? You don't want, obviously, what we're talking about where you maybe underperform consistently. That happens, though, because they're college kids, right? That's just going to happen from time to time.
Yep.
And anybody that you bring in for a new coach, I think year one, you can obviously expect struggles in year one.
Sure.
Just given the state of the program, I think there's going to be struggles in year one, maybe even year two. So are fans going to be patient with that again to have to wait, 2 years now of probably not making the NCAA tournament unless some miracle happens this year. Do you think fans are going to be patient to wait another 2 years beyond this year?
I don't think they have a choice.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Unless you bring in Darian DeVries, which he's shown that he can turn it around right away and get you on that NCAA tournament line right away.
It is important to note that Tucker DeVries is applying for his red shirt. He's out for the season. So that is an important note.
Yeah, I quoted that and put the LeBron James, I can't believe this, my life, because I was going to get Darian and Tucker next year. That's not breaking news. I'm not putting any insider information out there for all of you. That's just my hope.
No, it's been speculation by most of the talking heads. So this is nothing shocking by any means. It's been heard before. So I mean,
we're ending up with either Darian DeVries and Tucker or Ben McCollum and Bennett Sturtz. So take your pick of that duo. What do you want? You want Ben McCollum and Bennett Sturtz? You want Darian DeVries and Tucker DeVries? Take your pick.
You take yours.
I'm taking the DeVries.
Me too.
The DeVries combo. The only reason why I'm taking it is because Darian DeVries is recruited on a D1 level for years now.
Yeah.
Ben McCollum hasn't. That's the only thing that makes me nervous about Ben McCollum is that he's only had 1 year of D1 experience.
Yeah.
But I think as time goes on, it'll look like, yeah, this guy's a great coach.
It turns out, yeah.
Yeah. So, that's it.
Iowa women tonight. They win 81-71.
Yeah, we didn't make predictions. I will go 75-70. It'll be a closer game, but it'll be high scoring enough. Lucy Olson, hopefully she continues her hot streak here, and hopefully Taylor McCabe. Taylor McCabe looked great shooting early. Hopefully she keeps that up.
That's my girl.
I'm fine with Lucy Olson and Taylor McCabe shooting as many times as they want to or need to over the rest of the season.
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm looking forward to. I will go probably watch the game now. So,
yes, sir.
All right. Well, you got anything else before we call it tonight?
That's it, man. I'm ready for the game.
All right. Me too. Thank you as always for listening. And as always, go Hawks.
Go Hawks, baby.